Hello, my name is Edwin Avarca and I'm the Assistant Director at Summit Rainier.
Hi, my name is Liz Diernellis. I teach journalism for the Expeditions team.
My name is Ms. Ramachandran. I'm a mentor and bio teacher.
I'm Christina Bockold. I'm the Assistant Director of Expeditions.
I felt that human sexuality gave students the opportunity, or actually I don't know if opportunity is the right word, the language to talk about healthy relationships. It allowed students to talk about consent, and again, I shouldn't say allowed, but students were saying words like consent. Students, when I would have conversations with them, would say like, yeah, I don't think that's an example of a healthy relationship. Or they would say things like, yeah, I think that that is an abusive relationship. But I felt that students were not only talking about these things, but they were sort of thinking about their own relationships and how their own relationships were examples of like healthy relationships or non-healthy relationships. Sorry, I just saw something like that's supposed to be going on, but I will focus on you. So that's why, yeah, I just felt that it had, I think that a lot of students or a lot of people think about human sexuality as a class where people just talk about sex or sexual intercourse or like body parts, but I think that here at Rainier, at least, it felt that people were not just talking about sexuality and sexual intercourse, but people were talking about what relationships could look like and what relationships people aspire to have. Not just like romantic relationships, but also relationships with their family, relationships with their friends, and I feel like it led to a healthier community.
I think that having human sexuality as a course or as content that is available for students at Rainier is really important. I think we have a very diverse community when you look at the way in which the student's home life impacts what knowledge might be available to them prior to coming to school. And so I think that because we have students from such different backgrounds, they come into school with very different levels of knowledge. And there are students who intentionally seek out that course because for whatever reason they haven't gotten it yet, and they show up at Rainier feeling as if they need more information. And so I think it's very important to have that as an option for students who need it.
I think human sexuality had a really cool but short impact. I think there was some really strong relationships built in that very first round of expeditions, which then allows for people to bring in their questions and be vulnerable and address a topic that is often kind of taboo in our society. And so I think it allowed for that window to open for people, and that led to more questions, which is what we would hope for.
Yes, I think it's something that students need. I think I covered a lot of the reasons why I think our students here need that. I think I sympathize a lot with students here who come from backgrounds in which this content isn't discussed a lot at home, because that is what my home was like. I grew up in a fairly strict Catholic family, and so like this wasn't content that we talked about at home. And my mother was a big believer in public school and a big believer in sex education at school, and that is the space that she wanted that to be in. But for me, like, my high school did not do a good job of that, and so I feel like it is valuable if you come from any sort of background in which this content isn't discussed at home for any reason. It is nice to have that knowledge available at school.
Absolutely. I think it's really important for students to be aware of their bodies, also to be aware of their relationships with other people, how to be healthy. So I think it's really essential knowledge for everyone. In an ideal world, I would want human sexuality or some kind of a health class to be required for all ninth graders, because they're going to come across topics like safe sex or healthy relationships, birth control in their lives at some point or another, and I'd rather that they get that information from a trusted source early on.
Yeah, I think that there is twofold. On a logistical side, when I'm looking at different candidates to join the expeditions team, prioritizing content or prioritizing someone who has the expertise to bring human sexuality to campus in a really strong way is something that's on the forefront of my mind. I think that on the other side of things, and larger just like strategy, expeditions in general, knowing that that's the space where human sexuality is going to be offered, should prioritize in creating a long-term plan for that to always be a program that we offer at all of our sites.